If the main power grid fails for just 24 hours, a single community ice rink will melt into 15,000 gallons of dirty water, warping the concrete slab beneath it and destroying a $15 million investment. This massive puddle represents the constant battle against physics that rink owners fight every single day. Aspiring owners often focus on the revenue from entry fees and birthday parties, ignoring the massive energy bills that accumulate before the first winter league even starts. Few operators realize that the survival of their business depends on spending thousands of dollars heating the ground directly beneath the ice sheet, a mechanical requirement that remains a complete secret to most aspiring owners until it is too late. Ground freezing must be prevented by heating the soil below the pipes, or the earth will expand and crack the entire concrete floor, rendering the building useless. The dream of owning an ice rink is often born from a passion for hockey or figure skating, combined with the vision of running a beloved community hub. Entrepreneurs picture a bustling lobby filled with families buying hot cocoa, youth teams cheering in the locker rooms, and recreational skaters gliding under bright lights. They see local businesses paying for ads on the boards and youth leagues renting ice time for hundreds of dollars an hour. It seems like a straightforward, high-demand business that can operate 365 days a year without seasonal drops. Reality is a relentless struggle against high utility rates and aging refrigeration systems. A single breakdown in the refrigeration plant can freeze your cash flow instantly while your fixed expenses keep accumulating. Before you can open your doors to the public, you have to survive the capital requirements of constructing or acquiring the facility. Building a standard community ice arena from scratch is one of the most capital-intensive projects in commercial real estate. Finding a suitable location is another major hurdle because you need a flat, clear-span building with at least 30,000 square feet of column-free space. Renting an existing warehouse requires spending over $200,000 just to upgrade the electrical service to handle the massive three-phase power required by the compressors. Recent construction data shows that a basic indoor single-sheet facility typically costs between $15 million and $20 million to construct. Adding a second sheet of ice will scale the investment to $37 million or even $46 million. Much of this cost goes into specialized engineering that has nothing to do with the building shell itself. Mechanical rooms house the chillers, compressors, condensers, and pumps, costing at least $200,000 and exceeding $500,000 for a professional-grade system. Beneath the ice lies a network of pipes embedded in a monolithic concrete slab, a highly precise installation that requires specialized contractors and costs over $300,000. Industrial dehumidifiers are also required to prevent indoor fog and rain, adding another $150,000 to your mechanical budget. Even the machines that maintain the ice are major capital expenditures. New electric ice resurfacers cost between $50,000 and $150,000, depending on the technology and blade size. Purchasing a used machine for $20,000 saves upfront capital, but increases the risk of high maintenance bills and frequent breakdown. Buying hundreds of pairs of rental skates in various sizes will cost around $30,000. Locker room benches, dasher boards, protective netting, and scoreboard electronics require another $100,000 before you can host a single game. Inventory for the concession stand and pro shop adds another $15,000 in upfront costs. Finally, you must secure municipal permits and establish a working capital buffer of at least $250,000 to cover initial operating losses. To fund a project of this magnitude, very few owners use their own cash. Instead, they rely on complex financing structures combining commercial bank loans, federal small business programs, equipment leasing contracts, and private investor capital. Standard bank loans for recreational facilities typically require a down payment of at least 20 to 30%, meaning you need to raise $3 million to $6 million in cash before a bank will even talk to you. Many owners look to the Small Business Administration 504 loan program, which offers long-term, fixed-rate financing for major fixed assets. Funding under this program allows the owner to contribute 10% of the cost, while a commercial bank provides 50% and a development company covers the remaining 40%. Such complex debt structures still leave the owner with a massive monthly debt service. On a $10 million loan with a 6% interest rate and a 20-year amortization schedule, your monthly payment will exceed $71,000. Operating profit must exceed $2,300 every single day of the year just to cover this bank note. A major source of financial stress is the interest rate environment, as a 2% increase in commercial loan rates can add thousands of dollars to your monthly payment. Sovereign wealth funds or institutional investors rarely fund community rinks because the return on investment is far lower than traditional retail or residential development. High local property taxes can easily push that daily requirement up by another $10,000 a month. Pre-selling ice time to local leagues is often the only way to secure the loan in the first place. Lenders will not approve the construction loans without signed agreements proving future demand. Once your facility is open, the real financial pressure begins. Utility bills represent your largest ongoing operational expense. Average indoor rinks consume between 1,500 and 2,400 megawatt hours of electricity annually. Power costs in high-rate states can translate to a monthly electric bill ranging from $15,000 to $25,000. Compressors must run continuously to keep the refrigerant at 16 degrees Fahrenheit, while dehumidifiers work to keep the air dry. Compressors require a constant supply of cooling water to remove the heat absorbed from the rink floor, which usually flows through a cooling tower on the roof. During the cold winter months, this tower is susceptible to freezing, requiring automated heaters to prevent ice from blocking the water flow. Rising indoor humidity causes moisture to condense on the ice, creating a slow, rough surface that hockey players hate. Constant climate control is required, meaning your HVAC systems must run even when the building is closed. Water is another significant utility cost. Shaving off the top layer of ice and depositing a new layer of hot water is how the resurfacer maintains the surface. Each ice resurfacing run consumes about 300 gallons of water. Running the machine 10 times a day consumes 3,000 gallons of water daily, much of which must be heated to 140 degrees Fahrenheit to ensure it freezes smoothly. Gas bills will increase by another $2,000 a month just to heat this water. Labor is the next major hurdle. Certified facility managers who understand industrial refrigeration systems command an annual salary of $60,000 to $90,000. Part-time staff must be hired to handle skate rentals, concessions, front desk check-ins, and ice maintenance. Resurfacer drivers require specialized training to avoid damaging the dasher boards or gogging the concrete slab. Drivers typically earn $15 to $25 an hour, and you need coverage for all operating hours from 6 a.m. to midnight. Insurance is another major fixed cost that cannot be avoided. General liability insurance for an ice rink is exceptionally high due to the high risk of slips, falls, concussions, and collisions. Policies with a $1 million occurrence limit and a $2 million aggregate limit will cost between $15,000 and $30,000 annually. Hosting high-speed hockey tournaments or contact leagues will slide your premium toward the higher end of that range. Property insurance to protect the expensive refrigeration equipment and the building shell adds another $12,000 a year. Annual servicing for refrigeration systems costs around 10 to 20% of the original equipment price, or about $25,000. Maintenance for the ice resurfacer includes weekly blade sharpening, regular oil changes, and battery care. Blade replacement and routine mechanical maintenance add another $5,000 to your annual budget. Survival in this business requires diversifying your revenue streams beyond basic rentals. Leasing ice time to organized groups is the foundation of the business model. Youth hockey associations and adult leagues rent ice in large blocks, making them your most reliable customers. Booking 30 hours of primetime ice per week at an average rate of $400 an hour generates $12,000 a week from hockey rentals alone. Weekday evenings from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. and weekends are primetime slots that command $300 to $500 per hour. Non-prime slots like early weekday mornings or late nights are much harder to sell. Discounting these off-peak hours to $150 or $200 an hour is often necessary to attract adult leagues or individual skaters. Figure skating clubs often rent the ice in the early mornings, providing a predictable monthly revenue stream. Regular rental income from these clubs helps stabilize cash flow during the slower seasons. Public skating sessions represent a highly profitable direct-to-consumer channel. Ticket prices for general admission typically range from $8 to $15 per person. Rental skates cost about $60 to purchase, meaning you break even on the equipment after just 12 rentals at $5 each. Busy weekend public sessions with 150 skaters can bring in $2,000 in a single afternoon. Special events like holiday skate sessions, neon light nights, and live DJ events can draw even larger crowds, allowing you to charge premium admission rates. These high-traffic events also boost concession sales, as cold skaters purchase large quantities of coffee, tea, and warm snacks. Learn-to-skate programs help build a pipeline of future recreational skaters and hockey players. Group classes charging $160 for an 8-week course generate high margins because a single coach can teach 15 students at once. Class participants also spend money at the concession stand and eventually purchase their own gear from your pro shop. Concessions can achieve gross margins of 70% by selling high markup items like hot chocolate, soda, nachos, and hot dogs. Profit from a well-managed concession stand can range from $50,000 to $80,000 annually. Birthday party packages are another lucrative option for utilizing weekend ice. Private room rentals combined with skate admissions and concessions can net $300 for a 2-hour event. Marketing board space to local businesses provides passive sponsorship income. Local businesses pay $1,000 to $3,000 a year to place their logos on the dasher boards. Selling 20 board advertisements secures an extra $40,000 in pure profit annually. Skate sharpening services in the pro shop cost $8 to $12 per pair and run on almost zero overhead. Merchandise sales of hockey tape, laces, and minor gear bring in another $15,000 a year in high-margin revenue. Technical engineering is required to make all of these programs possible. Creating professional ice involves far more than pouring water onto a concrete floor and turning on a freezer. Monolithic concrete slabs house miles of steel or plastic piping beneath the surface. Base layers consist of a concrete subfloor, followed by insulation, a vapor barrier, and the cooling pipes. Underneath the insulation sits a heating system that circulates warm glycol to prevent the earth below from freezing. Failure of this under-slab heating system allows the moisture in the soil beneath the rink to freeze, expand, and push the concrete upward in a process called frost heaving. Repairing a cracked slab requires jackhammering the concrete, replacing the pipes, and pouring a new monolithic slab for over $500,000. Above the pipes, brine or glycol cooled to 16 degrees Fahrenheit by the refrigeration plant keeps the concrete slab freezing cold. Brine circulation must be constant to maintain a uniform temperature across the entire surface. Pouring the concrete slab must be done in a single session to prevent seams that could crack under extreme thermal stress. Spraying water in thin layers is the next step to build up the ice sheet. Ice thickness is kept at 1 inch to 1.5 inches. Thicker ice requires significantly more energy to keep the surface frozen. Thin ice allows skaters to gouge through to the concrete slab, creating a major safety hazard. Maintaining this balance requires constant monitoring of the refrigeration plant. Ammonia or Freon is typically used as the primary refrigerant. Highly efficient but toxic, ammonia requires expensive safety sensors and regular fire department inspection. Minor ammonia leaks can result in evacuations, fines, and thousands of dollars in lost revenue. Summer operations present a different set of challenges. Extreme outdoor heat and humidity force the compressors to work twice as hard to keep the ice frozen. Melting the ice during the summer is an option for some operators to save on utility bills. Dry floor rentals for inline hockey, lacrosse, or trade shows can generate revenue during these months. Rebuilding the ice sheet is a labor-intensive process that takes 2 weeks and costs $10,000 in water and energy. Keeping the ice frozen year-round requires ensuring that summer camps and off-season training clinics offset the higher utility costs. Scheduling conflicts are a constant headache for rink owners. Balancing the demands of hockey leagues, figure skaters, and public sessions is a delicate act. Hockey leagues want the ice during prime evening hours, but figure skaters also want those same times. Weekend afternoons are highly profitable for public skating, but are also coveted by youth hockey associations. Allocating too much time to public skating risks alienating the local hockey associations that provide year-round revenue. Overscheduling hockey sessions leaves no room for the high-margin cash flow from skate rentals and public admission fees. Tallying all the costs reveals that the profit margins of an ice rink are remarkably slim. Typical community rinks generate between $800,000 and $1,500,000 in annual revenue. Subtracting utilities, payroll, insurance, maintenance, and debt service leaves an average net profit margin of 8 to 18%. Independent operators can expect an annual take-home pay of $50,000 to $150,000. Most rinks do not see positive cash flow for the first 2 or 3 years of operation. Profitability requires achieving an ice utilization rate of at least 70% during all operating hours. Skaters must be on the ice from 6 a.m. until midnight, 7 days a week to hit this target. Empty ice slots do not decrease your overhead, your compressors are still running, and your staff is still on the clock. Lost revenue from an empty hour of ice can never be recovered. Partnering with local schools for physical education classes or offering discounted rates to homeschool groups helps fill empty daytime slots. Others host corporate team building events, curling leagues, or broomball tournaments to increase utilization. Utilized ice hours help dilute the fixed operating costs of the facility. Efficiency of the refrigeration system often determines the difference between a thriving rink and a bankrupt one. Legacy compressors in older facilities can consume twice as much electricity as modern units with variable frequency drives. Heat recovery systems capture waste heat from the compressors to warm locker rooms, showers, and the resurfacer water. Using this technology can reduce gas and electricity bills by 30 to 50%, saving up to $50,000 annually. Operating without a capital reserve fund of at least $50,000 forces you to take out high-interest merchant cash advances when a mechanical failure occurs. Given the high startup costs, constant risk of equipment failure, and slim profit margins, owning an ice rink requires constant active management rather than passive investment. Hands-on management demands mechanical expertise and daily oversight to keep the facility running. Cities can afford to operate rinks at a loss or at break, even because they view the facility as a public service that improves the quality of life for residents. Municipalities also have access to tax-exempt municipal bonds, which allow them to finance construction at much lower interest rates than private developers can secure. This financing advantage explains why the majority of new indoor ice surfaces built in the last decade are public projects. Subsidizing the operating costs using tax revenues is a common practice for municipal rinks. Private owners must run the facility like a business first and a sports arena second to survive. Long hours, routine maintenance on complex refrigeration plants, and constant sales efforts are required. Former hockey players or figure skaters often run independent rinks out of passion but struggle with the business reality. Neglecting strong financial management quickly turns these passion projects into expensive liability. Failure rates for private rinks are high, with many closing or selling to the city when the refrigeration system requires a major overhaul. Melted ice is all that remains when the compressors finally give out and the pipes freeze over for the last time. Failing to manage the complex physics of the sub-slab heating, the daily maintenance of a $100,000 resurfacing machine, and the crushing weight of a $20,000 monthly electric bill will quickly destroy your dream of ownership. Ice will always melt if you cannot afford to keep the cold running.